hope you're alright, people. It's been a hard lockdown, and I'm going to try and give you some light-hearted humour, a little bit of banter, a little bit of fun, something for you to get through this evening and these boring times, you know. It is a big shout out to Gary the G. Neville, really good football player, not so good manager, but that's just a bit of banty-wanty ding-dong for you. But seriously, big shout out to Neville, and a lot of the ex-pundits that I'm starting to enjoy, whether it's listening to Jamie Carragher, Neville argue, all of this. But like I said, big shout out, and this is just a fun reaction video, and basically it's going to show you how me and Gary Neville are very similar. We're very similar, bruv. We do things very similarly. But let the video begin. Enjoy, people. See you later.
I had the driest mouth in the world. I just literally licking my lips every 10 seconds.
Hola, bonjour, merhaba, konnichi, wagwan, hello. Know who it is, people? It's Arsenal's Readers. I want to thank you all for being here. All my subscribers, views. Make sure you like, share, and subby wubby ding dong, please. But we're going to jump into the video today, people. And you lot know from the beginning of my channel, I like to. Gary Neville was one of the players who brought the passion to the football for me. He brought the love of the game. Obviously, right back, Man United, very, very decorated. And to be honest, I even hear his own teammates sometimes. They don't talk bad of him, but I know as an Arsenal player, fucking hell, I am deluded, but as an Arsenal fan, that guy, listen, I know what he brought in terms of maybe not the skill to this or that, but the passion and the intensity. So there's few players like that, whether they're Arsenal players, Man U players, this and that, and then they go on to be pundits, whatever, and some of them you're not listening to. But Gary Neville, I always seem to have time for a little MNF video, him and Carragher having a little argument. But do you know what? Gary Neville, people, I'm talking to the realists now, I'm talking to my subs and my live chats and my people. He's one of us. He's one of us, bruv. And we've been in life, we share experiences. Obviously, you grow up, you go through things together, whether you're going to meet your first girl with your friends, you're going to play football together, you're going out for the first time, you go through all these stages together. And you know what? Some of you know how it is. We will never forget some of the first things we ever did. Like I said, your first girl, your first holiday, your first this, your first that. But you know, also for some of us, we will never forget our first spliff, blood. It's just the way it is in life. Everyone had it at different times, but do you know what? There's one thing I can honestly say right at the beginning, because it might be peer pressure, it might be you're trying to lose yourself, it might just be damn outright fun. We're not talking about addictions and mad drugs and this and that. We're talking about you do something with your friends when you're young or when you're a teenager, and you see what happens. And do you know what? We all go through the same feelings, and I think, let me let Gary explain how he felt on his experience first.
I'd never done it before. There was a lot of nervousness, there was a lot of anxiety about how it would be received.
Look, we can't lie. Nervousness, anxiety, you're scared how it's going to be received. You don't know. Do you know what I mean? You can't get caught. The teacher will smack you up. Oh my God, you got a little bit of ash. You got a little bud. You're going to die. So even Gary, the G. I always told you, Gary, the G. The G standing for green, bruv. Gary, the G, Neville. He just like us, bruv. He feels the anxiety, the pressure. Oh my God, how's it going to be received by the public? And ultimately, we even know there's a few little things after what you say when you've done these things. Like some people get the munchies, some people just pass out. I swear to God, I knew a brother, he took 1 month, we turned around, we come back, he passed out on the field. He was sleeping, snoring. We had to duck out. The teacher come, they couldn't wake him up for 4 hours, bruv. Man just went to bed in the middle of school. But everyone does it differently. But one of the little side effects that Gary mentions here, like I said, Gary's one of us, bro. He's just a normal person. He made $1 billion, and he probably weren't on the Star Dog then. Manchester weren't. This is back in the day. He was on the old Sensamilia. But listen, even Gary, like I said, don't think these millionaires don't feel the same things and their bodies don't react the same. Because look what, he even knows it. Look, listen to what one of Gary's main side effects was.
You have a dry mouth, almost shaking, feeling that this is a really big moment.
See, I relate with the dry mouth, but do you know what? The shaking, we all know the people that shook and went mad and started sweating. They pulled a little whitey. They went ghost. It happened. So Gary might have been the brother, one of the brothers in the category that fell asleep under the tree. But he said it, bruv. He said it. How many of us can relate to that dry mouth, bruv? Even Gary had it. But Gary's now going to go on to show you how he felt once finally, do you know, once you've done it a couple times, when you're getting For instance, I will never forget this. I was on a bus going somewhere, just smoked a little spunky danky with my friends. I was on the top deck, sitting on the deck, yeah, on the little 2 seats. And I don't know what was going on in my head, yeah. I must have been so high. I was young. I was trying to snap my brain out of it as well. A couple times I tried to save myself, but in my head, the little 2 seats I was sitting in was a Ferris wheel, bruv. I know it sounds mad. I couldn't see what was in front of me. I was just lost in my brain, danked out my nut, yeah. Starts off with fantasizing while you're high. Next thing, I was in a Ferris wheel. I'm gripping onto the 2 seats in front of me. Every bump on the bus is a fucking spin. Bro, when I got off the bus, I'll never forget it. Doritos and Ribena, that's what I ate. It all came out, bro. That was the early days, isn't it? That was when I got too danged for me own good. But I don't know, like I'm saying, I would explain and express and paint my picture and my highness then. For me, it was a Ferris wheel. But Gary's gonna go on to tell you that when he gets a little bit stonky, it's more like a boat to Gary Neville. Yeah, it's more like a boat feeling, the motion in the ocean. I'm more in the air trying to get air. He's in the motion in the ocean in a boat. So listen to Gary's description of his high.
It looks like I'm on a it's like I'm on a ship as well. Honestly, that was the big thing in the early days. And if you notice now, people probably won't notice because it just happens naturally. I did not know what to do with my hands, so my hands were everywhere. I was literally swaying from side to side. I didn't know what to do, and it's just purely being completely out of my comfort zone.
Let's be real, people, yeah? Do you know when it's the early days, bro? The early days I just told you, you're out of your comfort zone. You don't know where to put your hands. I'm holding on to this. Like, do you want to hear? Do you want to hear? Once you get high, you start getting paranoid about your own friends. You're like, why's no one talking, bruv? It's been 3.5 hours. None of us have looked at each other. In the early days, bruv, man said he was swaying with a dry mouth. Listen, bruv, everyone's been through all the same kind of things, bruv. It doesn't matter where you done it and what you did it. The only difference is Gary was on the top notch back then, blood. And unfortunately, even for Gary, in the end, unless you're strong mentality, strong-willed, and you got control, do you know what happened? This is how Gary would describe it now.
It became a habit in the end.
I just want to say, Gary, we're here for you. Any habit can be conquered. Any goal can be achieved. Obviously, Arsenal finishing top 4 is a bit mad. I don't know what's going on with United, might I add. Any United fans watching? Can I just say, we're going to do it. I'm waiting for a few things to happen. Probably the Burnley game. We're going to see what happens. But, bruv, if you end up top of the league and by a madness, you get a few more points. Let's say you actually end up winning it. Do you still want to sack Ollie? Can you leave me in the comments? But bruv, as we've just seen, you, me, Gary, we've been through the same experiences, and ultimately, when you're younger, a lot of us will describe that time in our life as, I would say, do you know what, let me let Gary tell you how, even Gary was there, how some of us refer to them times in our life.
Just generally, it was a real edgy time. And I felt edgy.
You felt edgy, bruv. You was always high when you wasn't to be. You was high in the morning. You was dry-mouthed up over there. And let me just say this for the purposes of the video. It's a joke, people. I'm banging out a video for you. You know who it is. It's Arsenal's realist. I just thought I'd slap a little Gary Neville video in it. Listen, obviously he's talking about his surprise appointment at Valencia and being the manager and his nervousness. I'll just clarify, you get me? But you know what? I think it was a subliminal message. I think that's Gary talking to the fans, telling them, obviously he's got his new little Gary Neville podcast on Sky Sports. I watch it. It's good to watch. But I reckon it's him telling them, look, bruv, we've all been there. We're all getting danked. We're in lockdown. I'm on my boat, swaying side to side. I got dry mouth too. Sit tight. Do your thing. Make sure, he's also saying subliminally, make sure you watch Arsenal's realist. Do you know what it is? You know them ones. But you know who it is, people. It's AR, Arsenal's realist. This was just a little fun one. I've got all sorts of videos coming, dropping, lives prepared. I've even got a little fun quiz coming up, blood, but man's preparing it. But you know who it is? AR. Make sure you love your people. Make sure your people love you. Yeah? See you later, guys. Thank you very much.